Social media management is notorious for being high pressure, competitive, and changing literally every day, which is why it isn't surprising that most social media managers get burned out within the first 2 years. So how do you keep going? How do you stay up with the latest updates, protect your mental health, and build a successful social media management business that supports your lifestyle goals? Whether that's working from home with your kiddos or jet setting around the world, that's what this show is all about. Welcome to Social Media Manager Confidential. I'm Shantae Gorman, founder of a six-figure social media management agency and mentor to social media managers. And I'm here to dish on the ins and outs of the social media management world without any of the gatekeeping that can come along with it. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and you'll leave each episode inspired. Let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're in part 5 of the Visibility Strategy series. And this one I'm really excited to talk to you about because it's all about running paid ad campaigns in order to grow your client's Instagram account. And disclaimer, this is all legit, ethical, above board. We're not doing anything scammy or anything that's going to get your Instagram account shut down. So I'm trying something new today for the YouTube side of the podcast where I'm looking directly at the camera. So hopefully that feels a little bit more conversational. If you like it, let me know and I can keep doing it. If you don't care, let me know and I will just look at my screen next time. But I just wanted, to put out some options for you. Let me know what you like. So when it comes to paid ad campaigns, why does this work? So the idea behind it is normally when you're managing an Instagram account, you're relying on the algorithm to determine who should see your account, how often they should see it. And we're using hashtags, we're using keywords, we're using engagement to kind of try to steer our content towards the right people. But if you use paid ads, you can ensure that your content is getting seen by specific people, which is really helpful if it's a local audience, because you can set specific zip codes, you can set a specific age group, you can set a specific interest, income levels. There's so many different things you can do with paid ads that you can't necessarily do with organic, kind of relying on the algorithm. So you're casting a wider net with organic, and you're also really relying on how quality your content is for how much engagement it's going to get, how much reach it's going to get, how many times it's going to be shared, how many people are going to see it. And it's kind of a luck. It's a little bit of a lottery. It's a little leave it to chance, where with ads, you're ensuring people are seeing it. I mean, you're not going to guarantee that they're going to follow or engage or anything like that, but you're at least ensuring, you can steer it directly towards that specific type of person. Now, when it comes to who to use these ads for, I mentioned that it's good for people who have a local business, whether it's realtors or a local mom and pop shop, or people that you want to reach in a specific zip code or area or state, or even side of a country or things like that. If you want to get that location specific, it is very helpful to use ads. You could also use ads if your niche is very niche or small, if it's something that not a lot of people have in common or a specific interest. It's also helpful for small accounts who want to grow quickly, but grow a targeted audience very quickly. So maybe they have a specific interest that they're interested in, and we want to direct all of our ads, all of our traffic that way towards that specific audience. If your client account is already performing really well, if your followers are super engaged, you can just rely on the algorithm organically to help this account grow. It's doing a great job. It's already done it. But ads are always great to kind of speed that process along. Or if you are kind of stuck, it also helps to run paid ads. It's kind of a pay to play thing. Meta's always trying to get people to pay them money to reach their audience. So it is one of those things that, yes, it can help, but you got to make sure you do it well. It's not helpful for people who are wanting to grow and immediately convert that into sales. The method that we're using today, I want to say you can definitely get sales from ads, But the method we're using today is not for sales. It is specific for account growth. And I'll talk more about how to make sure everything is set up for success for that can then later translate into sales and leads and things like that. When I recommend using this is once you have some organic content that has performed well, you know exactly what your target audience is going to be attracted to and what's going to make them follow you. I mean, you can experiment, like this can be an out of the gate thing where you're experimenting with content and seeing what sticks and what doesn't, but it does get more expensive because you're putting ad dollars behind that. Where with organic, you're doing it all for free or on behalf of your client, they're not paying extra ad dollars on top of your current fee, where you are having to have a larger budget for the testing. So it's kind of one of those, you can weigh out your pros and cons. I prefer to make sure that we know what's going to work really well with our client's audience first, and then put ad dollars behind that. Because if it works really well organically, it's already proven to work organically, then it's definitely going to work well with ads behind it. So what we are not going to do when it comes to running ads is running ads using the Instagram app itself. Don't do this. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, you have very limited settings when you're in the Instagram app. When it comes to audience targeting, it doesn't have all of the options as it does elsewhere. And I'll tell you where to go. We're also not using this anymore as of February 2024, because if you're doing it through an Apple product, iPhone, iPad, there's an extra cost now. And according to Instagram, it says starting February 2024, when you boost in the Instagram iOS app, you will be billed through Apple. And this is where Apple will retain a 30% service charge on the total ad payment, less any applicable taxes. This service charge is retained by Apple, not Instagram or Meta. So you're not just paying Instagram/Meta, but you're paying Apple on top of that. So your ad spend is an extra 30% on top of that. So we don't want to do that. And Instagram has actually recommended people to not use the app to boost posts anymore because of this. If you have an Apple product, Android still, you're totally fine. So what we're going to be doing instead is using our computers, old school. We're going to use Meta Business Suite, which hopefully if you're a social media manager, you're already familiar with Meta Business Suite. It's often the bane of our existence, especially when it comes to permissions and things working correctly. But that is the tool that we need to use for this. And you need to have an ads manager account, and your client needs to have an ads manager account. And then you want to have your client give you access to their ad account. We're not paying for ads ourselves on behalf of our client. The client is paying for ads through their ad account and then adding us as like a user with correct permissions so that we can make sure that we can manage everything and all that. There are directions. You can Google how to get permissions and all of that, but that's essentially how the setup works. So you're not paying for your client's ads. Want to dive even deeper into these topics and more like it? I'm talking finding high-paying clients, creating packages that sell, advanced marketing strategies, content creation, metrics and insights, portfolios, launching your business, and even how to become a social media manager. I have a full program suite of 8 self-study courses for you so that you can build and grow a profitable social media management business, have consistent income, work with dream clients, and scale without getting hit with burnout. Plus, I've done a lot of the hard work for you. You'll get templates, scripts, and so much more. Learn more about the Social Media Manager Incubator Program Suite by visiting my website. Details and links are in the show notes for you. Now, when it comes to ads themselves, I'm going to pull it up on my computer here so I can look at it while I'm talking to you. We have a few different objectives we can do. So if you're looking at the ads manager in the campaigns, which is the normal kind of like page that it takes you to, if you click the green button and hit create ad, you have a few different objectives that you can pick. There's awareness, there's traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. For Instagram growth, we are going to click the traffic objective. Then you're going to click the continue button for next. And then You can either do the recommended settings or you can do the manual traffic campaign. I personally prefer manual setup because that's what I'm used to, and I can make sure I have all of the options that I want there. So I'm going into manual. Now, when it comes to the different content categories, you will have to disclose if you work with realtors, for example, if this is about housing, this is not a good piece of content to run ads on. There's a lot of rules and stipulations when it comes to housing, employment, social issues, politics, financing like credit, auto loans, stuff like that. So make sure you read what is going to require a special category. And if your client falls into that, don't boost a post to that because it gets expensive and you don't have as much targeting options. And it's just kind of not really worth it for what it is you're doing. You can run ads for realtors, but they aren't about specific houses or housing opportunities. It could just be about them being a realtor or stuff, lifestyle type stuff. Whatever works for your audience that is not a house. So there's a conversion location on one page where you want people to convert. So this is where we're wanting to drive traffic to. And your options are website, app, messaging apps, Instagram profile, or calls. So we want to drive traffic to the Instagram profile. So these are the people that are seeing this ad. And then when they engage on it, click on it, learn more, that type of thing, it's taking them to your client's Instagram profile. So we're going to do that. And then you can set your daily budget, you can set the schedule, all of those things. And then when you go to audience controls, here is where you can edit the target audience settings. You can do anything from specific locations, you can do interests, you can do job titles, you can do ages, any type of demographic, or it could also be marital status, if they're parents, if they are parents, what ages. There's so many different targeting options in there. You can search, you can browse. They have suggestions for you if they have a feel for who it is you're trying to target. So you can select all of those, and Instagram will do its best to find people that match those that are likely to click that profile or click to view more of the profile. So it'll optimize it for that. You can then set your placement. You're going to want to edit this. Normally, it has Advantage Plus placements checked. That's where Instagram or Meta is basically deciding what placements to place your ad for best results. But we want to do manual here because we only want it to run on Instagram itself. Usually that's selected, but depending on how you set this up, sometimes it's also going to try to run it to like Facebook and Messenger and the audience network, which means basically any website that is running Facebook ads like on the sides or whatever, which isn't great for conversion. So we want to make sure that it's only running on Instagram. And you can always say, I only want it on Instagram feed, or I wanted to run it on stories, or just the profile feed or the explore page. I like to leave it as everything on Instagram and let Meta decide, using the algorithm, what performs best for that specific audience, get you the best results. So then you're going to go to next. And here is where you can then select the Facebook page it's going to run on, which technically it's not running on a Facebook page, but it needs to have the Facebook page in order to select the Instagram account that is linked to that Facebook page. Again, you need to do that in Meta Business Suite, or the Instagram account isn't going to come up in the drop down. So select your client's Instagram account. And then I like to select, instead of create ad in the ad setup, we're not creating something from scratch. We're using an existing post because, again, we're using posts that have already performed really well on Instagram. From there, you can select the post on Instagram that performed well that you want to use as an ad. Now, there's a couple of feats here. You can use a reel or a carousel, but you cannot use anything that has licensed audio or original audio. It's kind of pick and choosy, but basically anything that is licensed, it's not going to let you use it as an ad. Carousels are usually fine. It's the audio that is kind of the issue there. So you can pick the post that you want to select and then click continue. It will keep the caption as is, but it will also allow you to add different types of captions so that you can kind of test out what caption is going to work for you. So you can do that. And then you're going to hit publish, and that's going to be it. It's going to run ads. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Budgeting, again, it's going to depend on what audience you're trying to reach and how specific and narrow you're getting. You are competing against every company, including places like Target and like Starbucks, to reach a specific set of audience if they are running ads to that audience. So it's always kind of difficult to determine as far as budget, what is reliable. I've had clients see success with this strategy for $2 a day. I've had others where they need to put $10, $15 a day. So it does depend on who you're trying to reach and how competitive you're wanting to be. Before you run these ads, though, we need to make sure your Instagram profile is conversion optimized, which means that we need to take a look at the conversion rate. And if you're not sure what the conversion rate is for that, it's basically taking the percentage of profile visits that you get in total, maybe over the last 30 days, and then see how many of those profile visits turned into new follows. So that's taking the profile visits metric and the new follows metric and getting a conversion rate out of that. Typically 10 to 15% is like the standard baseline. If it's above that, perfect. But you can kind of use that as a way to calculate how much it'll cost you to gain a new follower for your client so they have an idea budget-wise. Now, we can maximize our conversion rate by making sure that the profile is optimized, the bio is optimized, it's got keywords, story highlights are also optimized. We want it to look like basically kind of a website is what the story highlights are for, where people don't want to leave Instagram. So we're giving them all of the information in the Instagram app itself. That's where the story highlights are. So there's an about, there's a services, social proof type of stuff, packages, how to work together, maybe links to the products themselves so they can go purchase those. That's the purpose of the story highlights. Use them strategically. If you're not sure how to do the conversion rate calculation, if you want some help optimizing Instagram profiles, all of that, I recommend my Metrics Masterclass. It's only $67, takes about 30 minutes to get through. And there's also a lot of free resources in there, formulas, reporting, stuff like that. Definitely recommend it. I will link it down below in the show notes for you. And we also want to look at our pinned post strategy. So the top 3 posts in your Instagram profile should be strategic when it comes to the buyer decision journey. It can lead into maybe email signups for your client, or it can lead into engagement. It can lead into, here's our offers right now. Here's how to work with me. Those are the 3 posts that people are going to see immediately following looking at the story highlights and the bio and stuff like that. Those are the first 3 posts. So those are super important. So you want to make sure all of those things are optimized for a high conversion rate before you run ads. So that's, again, something you should test organically. You can also test it with paid ads, but again, it's going to be a little more expensive, but definitely pay attention to that conversion rate number. So before you do this, I know there's a lot of before you do that, before you do this, but before you do this, please try this out, not on behalf of your clients. Let's be ethical about it. Or you can say, hey, I heard this new thing. I would like to try it. But if you haven't done this before, if you don't have experience with running ads or anything like this, be upfront about it with your client. Maybe they'll be okay being the guinea pig and maybe not. Maybe you can volunteer somewhere that might need help with this, or offer it at a really low discounted rate, but get experience doing this for clients before you actually offer this as a service. Because we don't want to be spending a ton of their money in addition to what we are already doing with our services. We don't want there to be extra fees on top of that we're making them pay for that they're not going to get results from. So make sure that you have all of the things in place. You're using data to back up your decisions with ads. And that's where you're going to find success. So I hope you found this helpful. Let me know what your thoughts were. If you like this format, if you have questions about ads. I know a lot of people ask if I have classes about ads. I don't currently. I might in the future. It's just one of those things where, again, why I don't have classes on specific platforms, because things change so often that it's difficult to keep it up to date. So double check to make sure you're getting access to all of the episodes of this podcast by tapping the follow button, the plus button in Apple Podcasts, or the subscribe button on YouTube. There's a new episode for you every Friday. And if you're enjoying this free podcast, help me keep it going by leaving a rating or review wherever you're listening. I do appreciate the DMs so much, but the ratings are what help us stay in the rankings and help me be able to continue to offer this for you. On Apple Podcasts, you can click Go to Show in the menu and then scroll down to the ratings area. Or if you're on Spotify, you can go to the show page, not the episode, the show page, and then tap the star icon underneath the show description. You can only leave a star rating on Spotify, but Apple allows you to leave a written review. And no matter what it is that you do, as long as you leave one, it is helpful so much. And extra brownie points if you share the link to this episode with friends who you think will enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Learn more about my digital template shop, online courses, and mentorship program by going to my website at sugarpunchmarketing.com. And while you're there, make sure you join my safe, supportive community created exclusively for social media managers. It's 100% free to join and packed with really amazing resources, trainings, and people. See you next time.